Welcome to Media.dot.edu's second webisode. In this webisode, we'll be focusing on the concept of the QFAT, the Qualitative Formative Assessment Toolkit. How does this technique fit into the scope of our work here at Media.dot.edu? QFATs provide me as a teacher a unique way to use my mobile device as a formative assessment tool. No longer am I anchored to my desk, calling students up one by one to discuss their work. Now I can circulate around the room, interviewing students, photographing their work, documenting their work, and creating an individual portfolio for each student on my iPad. Much of the work in this area has been done by Rashawn Richards, Apple Distinguished Educator. In his EdTech teacher post in February 2015, Richards proposed the Qualitative Formative Assessment Toolkit. Mobile technology could and should be a key tool in documenting learning. This documentation could take the form of photos, videos, screenshots, and screencasting. Richards also further suggests that, and Katie and I believe this is key, teachers and students need to let go of expectations of both polish and finality. To Richards, the process is the product. Katie and I could not agree more. Furthermore, the documentation of student work provides for a rich discussion at the end of the marking period with both students and their parents. We're going to share with you some of our strategies for using QFAT in our classrooms. This approach has made us stronger, more reflective teachers, and has made our students more responsible and more reflective learners. One concern is the amount of data being collected. You definitely need a thoughtful way to organize all of this data. So let's go through some examples. First, taking photos. I've created my own class Instagram account where both myself and my students can post photos of their learning experiences. These photos have become extremely helpful to me when I'm assessing student lab reports. Often students will describe their lab setup and the associated sources of error one way in their written lab report. However, when you look at a photo of their lab setup, it becomes quite clear that either the lab setup is incorrect or their lab setup could not have produced those errors. Second, taking screenshots. In my senior atmospheric science class, students do a lot of map analysis. This map analysis may take the form of sequencing, for which they use a program like ImageJ, or more substantial data analysis using information found on sites like climate.gov. Screenshots of student work during the analysis process allows me to understand their thinking and to see where in the analysis process a mistake may have occurred, or may not. It's as simple as Command-Shift-4. Next, filming videos. This one's easy. I'll hold up my phone, focus on a student experiment, and ask a student to describe what they're doing. It's a really quick and dirty assessment. In a short period of time, I'm getting a feel for what their understanding is. Even better, I can use an app like Periscope or Twitter, and students are communicating the work to the outside world. Finally, screencasting. Explain everything is great. I can take a photo of a student's experiment, add in some notes about their work, add in some notes about the questions they're responding to. The Explain Everything file shown here is not an actual one, but I can put in some text, responses to my questions, and some photos and videos all in one place. It's a great way to document learning all in one place. However, Katie and I would like to turn this QFAT concept on its ear by introducing the work of Alan November. He's the author of Who Owns the Learning, my personal pedagogical Bible. In this book, worthy of an investment, November proposes that students can act as tutorial designers, scribes, researchers, and global communicators and collaborators. His basic premise is that students should be communicating their work to a wider, appropriate audience. Their work should not be sitting on a server someplace or as a Google file someplace. Richards hints at this in his graphic on QFAT. Why not have students serve as curators of their own formative assessments? We here at Media.dot.edu see no reason that students should be photographing their own work, taking screenshots, videotaping each other, and creating their own screencasts to represent their knowledge. Katie and I have already started experimenting with this, and we look forward to putting it in place next year. Join us in 3 weeks for our next webisode, where we're going to be focusing on the best ways to select content, media-based content, for classroom activities. So we hope to see you then.